Yo, today I want to talk about how I'm changing kind of spiritually on this spiritual odyssey that I've been on to heal chronic back pain. And so I've been in chronic back pain for the last 6 years, and in the last 2 months have come to the realization that it is actually due to repressed emotions inside of me and just something internally being out of whack, misaligned, rather than something structurally being wrong with my body. And this is called TMS, tension myositis syndrome, or the Mindbody Syndrome. Easier way to think about it. And the ways that I'm healing are through understanding um, what's going on inside of me, reconnecting with just who I am, my childhood, understanding traumas and challenges and difficulties from that time, understanding the internal conflicts that are going on with me now in my present life, um, and just realizing that the type of person that I am, my personality traits, are contributing to this chronic pain as well. And this is all laid out by Dr. John Sarno, who's the pioneer of mind body healing, in his 3 books: Healing Back Pain, The Mind Body Prescription, and The Divided Mind. And I'm using his kind of philosophy to heal primarily, just to understand TMS and what it does and how to overcome it. But taking it a step further, I am getting deeply involved with learning from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he is a neuroscientist. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yep. Several books on changing your entire life through changing your internal world and the thoughts we believe, the things we think about ourselves, what we can be. This one, I think this was his first book, Becoming Supernatural, and I think it's his best. And just as a disclaimer, this is all stuff I'm just learning about, and I'm a student in all of this work. Nothing I say is the absolute truth. It's just what is working for me, what I'm interested in, what I'm curious about. And I do my best to disseminate the information of what I'm learning. And it helps me to learn this stuff. But you have to figure this stuff out on your own and see if it works for you. And if you don't believe it, that's okay. I didn't believe this stuff until the last 2 months. It's been 6 years that I've been in chronic back pain. And I tried everything to heal physically. All the chiropractors, acupuncture, physical therapy, rolfing, everything. Nothing made a difference. Exercise, I never stopped exercising, but I would get flare-ups all the time, and it just clearly was not a physical, it could not be solved physically. And that's the misconception with back pain, is that with chronic pain, is that there's something wrong with our body structurally. And of course, that makes sense. It's the rational, um, implication, thought process behind it. There's something obviously wrong with my body. That's why I'm in pain. And until you hit rock bottom, I think it's hard to accept that it's not a structural problem. Dr. John Sarno says, he's like, it's a shame that with this kind of healing, you pretty much have to hit rock bottom until you accept that this is what's happening. Because, I've had MRIs, I've had 2 over the years. They show I have like bulging discs and herniated discs. And I thought that was clearly the culprit, for this pain. But it's not. Those are, I'll just pull up a stat, but that is pretty much standard wear and tear of the spine as you get older. And but we just assume that, I'm in pain. Oh, I have a bulging disc. This must be it. I must need surgery. That's kind of where doctors lead us to, but that is not the root of the problem. That's not what's actually going on. So this guy, Dr. Howard Schubiner, who's a mind-body healer, um, doctor, healer, he has a book, uh, Unlearn Your Pain. He says, most people think that back and neck pain are degenerative disorders that one will inevitably increase with increasing age. However, data from the Center for Disease Control's annual National Health Interview Survey demonstrate that back and neck pain peaks between the ages of 45 and 64, and then actually declines slightly starting at age 65. Okay, so doesn't back pain mean that there's a problem in the back? Can't we see the abnormalities of the back on x-rays, CT scans, and MRIs? Yes and no. As we shall see, most people with chronic back pain do not have a clearly identifiable structural abnormality to explain it. But yes, almost all people will have some sort of abnormality seen on x-rays, CT, or MRI scans. To understand this, we need to look deeper at the meaning and importance of these abnormalities. So that means if you have back pain, you get an MRI and it shows you have a bulging or herniated disc. Of course, that's the culprit. That's what the doctor tells us. That's what society tells us is the problem. But looking at this chart, by the age 30 years old, 52% of people with no back pain have disc degeneration, 40% have a bulging disc, 31% have a disc protrusion, and 20% have an annular fissure, 9% have a facet degeneration, and 5% have a spondylolisthesis. Describe that. And that every one of those numbers goes up as you increase in age, and these people do not have back pain. So if you do not have back pain, you wouldn't go and get an MRI. Yet you still have those disc protrusions, the bulging discs, the herniations. It's Dr. Sarno says, just like gray hairs of the spine. I thought this was the cause for my pain for the last 6 years, and I've tried everything physically. But that's not the root of the problem. So Dr. Howard Schubiner continues in the book. In 3 separate studies by M.C. Jensen, D.G. Borenstein, and N. Booz, there's very little correlation between back pain and MRI results. When you take middle-aged people without any back pain and give them MRIs, 60 to 90% of them have bulging discs, degenerative discs, arthritic changes, spinal stenosis, and other common changes. These findings are best interpreted as being due to normal aging, not to a disease process. If you took 100 people with back pain and 100 people without back pain and do MRIs on all of them, doctors could not look at the MRIs and predict which patients had pain and which did not. A study of healthy 21-year-olds in Finland found that half of them had signs of degenerative discs and a quarter had bulging discs, all in people with no pain. When you take a large number of people who have no back pain at all, you find the following on MRIs. 50% of healthy 30-year-olds have degenerative disc disease and 40% have bulging discs. 80% of healthy 50-year-olds have degenerative disc disease and 60% have bulging discs. The numbers go up from there. And then this on back surgery. Back surgery may be necessary for some people with clear evidence of nerve damaging. But without that evidence, surgery is no better than non-operative methods for people with sciatic type and so-called degenerative back pain, according to recent studies in the Journal of the American Medical Association and the New England Journal of Medicine. Recent review of back pain treatment found that neither surgery, injections, or narcotic pain medications have been shown to be more effective than placebo treatments or conservative treatments. In particular, injections for back and neck pain are being used more often. Recent studies have not found them to be more effective than placebo injections in most instances. Even more alarming is the finding that back pain outcomes were actually worse in communities with higher rates of surgery. Okay, that's all just to say that it's very confusing. If you're in chronic pain, you're like, what the fuck do I do? I have bulging discs, but nothing's working. They tell me I need surgery. I don't want that, but I guess I have to get it. And then you get it, and it works maybe. Very, a small chance because it's a placebo, and it makes you believe, oh, this is what's going to heal it. So the power of the placebo makes you think the surgery worked. But then, unless you solve the internal stuff, the pain does not go away. And that is what's led me on this spiritual odyssey. So that brings me to the next point. Dr. Joe Dispenza was all about creating a new reality for yourself. And he's a neuroscientist. When he was in his 20s, on his bike, he got hit by a truck and shattered his spine. And through meditation, without any medical intervention, no surgery or anything, just meditating and like believing and seeing and visualizing twice a day for like 2 hours each time, he rebuilt his spine. And that's the power of the human mind that we are so unaware of. And like I said, I rejected this stuff for the last 6 years. I knew of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I listened to him on some podcasts and stuff over the years, but I was still trapped in the material world of believing my problem could be fixed by a certain chiropractor, or just there's something that could fix me. Something was wrong structurally with my body. When in the last 2 months, I've realized so much has been out of balance throughout my life within me. And Family Mart coffee here in Tokyo, quite good. It took me hitting rock bottom. I had 4 flare-ups in a month, 2 months ago, where I was just like, it's over. I can't live my life like this. And I really surrendered to the universe and what it was trying to tell me. And it led me to this work, to doing the inner work, and to going full into my own healing and putting everything on hold pretty much. And just, this is it. This is when everything in my life changes. This is me crossing the threshold from childhood into the life that I'm meant to live as an adult, a human being, not one who's in pain, but I have to make some sacrifices. But it's been the most unreal experience so far in about a month and a half that I could even start to describe. So I've been doing the Joe Dispenza meditations every day. And I started with his book, You Are the Placebo, and now I'm reading this one. And like I was saying, this is what I'm fascinated by. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I'm learning. Fact check me, if none of this stuff doesn't sound real, or if it sounds like woo-woo, kind of spiritual stuff, but that is the exact mindset that keeps us in pain, keeps us ignorant of just how much our lives are dictated by our thoughts, our mind, our spiritual awareness, and our awareness of our inner landscape. It creates everything, controls everything. Our brain creates our reality. Our brain creates pain. And I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson on Theo Von podcast. And my word, what an incredible episode. Neil deGrasse Tyson is so epic. And Theo Von is my favorite human being. So funny. So good. And they just together are incredible. But Neil deGrasse Tyson says so many people are caught in that space of thinking, knowing enough to think they're right, but not enough to know they're wrong. And I thought that was poignant and very interesting. So I'm trying not to get to that space. I don't think, well, all I could share is my own experience. I'm not telling you this is how it has to be. This is like how, what you have to do. But I can only say that my life has been completely altered, completely changed by doing this inner work. And instead of just discounting that, of course, my pain is physical. I can't, it can't be emotional. Like, what does that mean? What do I do with that? How do I actually heal? I discounted it for a long time, and then I hit rock bottom. It's like you can't go on like this anymore. Something about the fundamental reality of your life has to change, because that's what chronic pain is. It's telling you that something inside of you is fundamentally misaligned and out of whack. It's not your body. If you've had MRIs, if you don't have like cancer or some like serious thing that's like more than just disc degeneration or bulging discs, or then it's very good odds that's mind body stuff, that it's inner conflict. And just being aware of it and believing it, that's the first step to healing. And I'm on the journey. I'm not 100% healed, but I feel better than I have in months. Um, my mindset is just on another level of understanding and openness and just joy again, and passion and excitement and faith and awe and gratitude. And it's not always easy. I've known a lot of pain in the last 6 years, thinking about it every day of my life. Not just thinking about it, dealing with it. And now everything changes. So, what I want to talk about today is the blessings of our energy centers. So, I've been doing, I was kind of saying before, the Joe Dispenza meditations, and I started with the book You Are the Placebo, which I highly recommend. And I was kind of coming around to all of this, but maybe if you don't need this stuff, I mean, we all need it, but until you think you need it, you're not really ready for it. Like I wasn't ready to fully accept this stuff until I had no other choice. Now it's like the the blindfold has been taken off, because I'm seeing how it's actually affecting not just my physical body, but my nervous system, my emotions, my breathing, my awareness, consciousness. It's all just like opening up. My body's unclenching. I'm getting my life back. So maybe I say all this and you'll check out the book and it won't be, it is what it is. But maybe, just maybe, it'll stir something in your unconscious. And when you do really need it, you'll come back to this stuff and see it in a different way. So I'm going to talk about blessings of the energy centers. And I've been doing these meditations and did this one today for the first time, the blessings of the energy centers. And Joe Dispenza has a ton of meditations on Spotify for free, actually, which is awesome. Um, and before just diving into them, you should read the books, because they tells you what they actually mean, how to do them properly. And if you don't listen to them and you just into the meditations like I did several years ago, it sounds pretty wild. He kind of sounds insane. You're like, what is going on? Because I mean, the guy is beyond brilliant, and there's things with like wavelengths and certain tones and certain types of awareness that you need to tap into. Until you just understand those things a little bit, it might be quite off-putting. But Becoming Supernatural is also free to listen to on Spotify, if you are a member. maybe just in the US, but so blessings of the energy center. I'm just going to start out by saying I cried pretty hard today while doing this meditation, and that's what inspired me to do this video. So I'm just going to kind of walk through what that means, the blessings of the energy centers, what our energy centers are, how they affect us. Okay. So we've been talking a lot about light and information, or energy and consciousness. Now it's time to go a little deeper into those concepts to help explain how the next meditation works. As you already understand, everything in our known universe is made up of or emits either light and information or energy and consciousness, which are other ways of describing electromagnetic energy. In fact, these elements are so intimately combined that it's impossible to separate them. Look around you. Even if you don't see anything other than matter, objects, things, people, places, there's also a sea of infinite invisible frequencies that are carrying encoded information. That means not only that your body is made up of light and information, energy and consciousness, but also that you, as a conscious being with the body, are made of gravitationally organized light packed with information that's continuously sending and receiving various frequencies, all carrying different signals, just like a radio or cell phone. All frequency, of course, carries information. Think about radio waves for a moment. There are radio waves moving through the room you're sitting in right now. If you turned the radio on, you could tune into a specific wavelength or signal. Then a little transducer in the radio would pick up the signal and turn it into sound that you could hear and understand as your favorite song, the news, or commercial. Hope you are ready for story time, because that's what's happening. Okay. The visible light spectrum, and he shows the visible light spectrum here. You can see it. The visible light spectrum, where we perceive the various arrays of colors present in the world we live in, makes up less than 1% of all the frequencies of light that exists. Color makes up less than 1% of all the frequencies of light that exists. That means that the majority of frequencies are beyond our perception, and therefore most of our known reality in this universe cannot be experienced by our senses. So aside from our ability to perceive light being absorbed or reflected off objects and things, the truth is that we are able to perceive only a very small spectrum of reality. There's a lot of other information available to us besides what we can see with our physical senses. Remember that when I refer to light, I'm talking about all light, which includes the entire spectrum of electromagnetic frequencies, seen and unseen, not just visible light. Skip through some things about frequencies, wavelengths. What this means, in effect, is that we are quite literally beings of light, each radiating a very vital life force and expressing an actual light field around our bodies. The totality of each cell expressing and contributing to a vital field of light that carries a message. Okay? It would be safe to say, then, that the more we define reality with our senses and live our lives as materialists, focusing primarily on the physical, the more we may be missing out on valuable information. And I would say this is probably how most of us live, not realizing that there's so much more that meets the eye. Yeah. Okay. Moving into the energy centers. So, very, basic overview there. Just to get you to realize that we are light. We are energy and vibrations and frequency. And that all comes from our thoughts and what we hold as energy stored inside of our bodies. Okay. All right. I'm going to walk through the blessings of the energy centers, what the meditation is, what they mean. So, the body's energy centers, also referred to as chakras, meaning wheels. In ancient East Indian Vedic texts. So you place your energy in each energy center, and when you do that, your energy moves to it. Each of these individual centers begin to become activated. So, just wanted to, the chakras. Yeah, I'll show you. Eight. So the 7 energy centers in our body and 1 above us. Ka. Pretty cool. Chakras. Wheels. Wheels of energy, imagine, in your body. And let me tell you, I discounted all this stuff for years as well. But just stay open because it's life-changing. And I will continue here. Okay. We're about to take a closer look at each of the body's energy centers. First, I want to explain a bit more about how they work. Think of each of them as an individual center of information. Each has its own specific energy that carries a corresponding level of consciousness, its own emission of light expressing very specific information, or its own frequency carrying a certain message. Each also has its own individual glands, its own unique hormones, its own chemistry, and its own individual plexus of neurons. Think of these individual clusters of neurological networks as mini brains. And if each of these centers has its own individual brain, then each also has its own individual mind. Okay? So each of these 7 centers in the body, the one above us, is like a little brain that carries information, it stores energy. The first energy center governs the region of your sex organs, including your perineum, pelvic floor, the glands that are connected to your vagina or penis, prostate if you're a man, your bladder, your lower bowel, and your anus. This energy center has to do with reproduction and procreation, elimination, sexuality, and sexual identity. The hormones estrogen, progesterone in women, and testosterone in men are correlated with the center. This energy center is also associated with the inferior mesenteric nerve plexus. And that is the lowest energy center there. Yeah, sexual center, the birthplace of creativity. Second, a tremendous amount of creative energy exists in this first center. Think about the amount of energy that you use to make life and create a baby. When this center is in balance, your creative energy flows easily. You're grounded in your sexual identity. The second energy center is behind and slightly below your navel. It governs the ovaries, uterus, colon, pancreas, and lower back. It has to do with consumption, digestion, elimination, and the breaking down of food into energy, including digestive enzymes and juices, as well as the enzymes and hormones that balance your blood sugar levels. This center is also connected to the superior mesenteric nerve plexus. This energy center is also related to social networks and structures, relationships, support systems, families, cultures, and interpersonal relationships. Think about it as the center for holding on or letting go, consuming or eliminating. When this center is in balance, you feel safe and secure both in your environment and in the world. The third center is located in the pit of your gut. It governs the stomach, small intestine, spleen, liver, gallbladder, adrenal glands, and kidneys. The associated hormones include adrenaline and cortisol, the kidney hormones, chemicals like renin and angiotensin, erythropoietin, and all the liver enzymes, as well as the stomach enzymes like pepsin, trypsin, chymotrypsin, and hydrochloric acid. I'm not a scientist, so don't know if I got those right. This energy center is also related to the solar plexus, which is also called the celiac plexus. This center is associated with our will, power, self-importance, control, drive, aggression, and dominance. It is the center of competitive action and of personal power, self-esteem, and directed intention. When the third center is in balance, you use your will and your drive to overcome your environment and the conditions in your life. Unlike the second center, this center becomes naturally activated when you perceive that your environment is not safe or is unpredictable, so you must protect and take care of your tribe and yourself. This third center is also active when you want something and you need to use your body to get it. The fourth energy center is located in the space behind your breastbone. It governs the heart, lungs, and thymus gland, the body's main immunity gland, known as the fountain of youth. The hormones associated with the center include growth hormone and oxytocin, as well as a cascade of 1,400 different chemicals that stimulate the immune system's health via the thymus gland, responsible for growth, repair, and regeneration of the body. The nerve plexus this center governs is the heart plexus. The first three centers are all about survival and reflect our animal nature or our humanity. But in this fourth energy center, we're moving from being selfish to being selfless. This center is associated with the emotions of love and caring, nurturing, compassion, gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation, kindness, inspiration, selflessness, wholeness, and trust. It is where our divinity originates. It is the seat of the soul. When the fourth center is in balance, we care about others and we want to work in cooperation with the greatest good of the community. We feel a genuine love for life. We feel whole and are satisfied with who we are. And that is where I started crying this morning, focusing on that. The fifth energy center is located in the center of the throat. It governs the thyroid, parathyroid, the salivary glands, and tissues of the neck. The hormones associated with the center include the thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, parathyroid chemicals that govern the body's metabolism, and circulating calcium levels. The nerve plexus the center governs is the thyroid plexus. This center is associated with expressing the love you felt in the fourth center, as well as speaking your truth and personally empowering your reality through language and sound. When the fifth center is balanced, you voice your present truth, which includes expressing your love. You feel so pleased with yourself and with life that you just have to share your thoughts and feelings. The sixth center is located in the space between the back of your throat and the back of your head. It governs the pineal gland, which is a sacred gland. When this center is opened, it's like a radio antenna you can use to tune into higher frequencies beyond the five senses. This is where the alchemist in you awakens. I devote a whole chapter to the pineal gland later in the book, but for now, know that it secretes hormones like serotonin and melatonin, which are responsible for circadian rhythms of feeling awake in response to visible light during the day and sleepy in response to being in darkness at night. Yes. In fact, the pineal gland is sensitive to all electromagnetic frequencies besides visible light and can produce corresponding chemical derivatives of melatonin that change your view of reality. When this gland is in balance, your brain works in a clear manner. You are lucid, more conscious of both your inner world and your outer world, seeing and perceiving more every day. The seventh energy center is located in the center of your head and includes the pituitary gland. This gland has been called the master gland because it governs and creates harmony in a downward cascade from the center of your brain to your pineal gland, your thyroid gland, your thymus gland, your adrenal glands, your pancreatic gland, and all the way to your sexual glands. This is the center of the body where you experience your greatest expression of divinity. This is where your divinity, your highest level of consciousness, originates. When this gland is in balance, you are in harmony with all things. The eighth energy center is located about 16 inches above the head, so it's the only center that is not associated with an area of the physical body. The Egyptians called it the Ka. It represents your connections to the cosmos, the universe, the whole. When this center becomes activated, you feel worthy to receive. That opens you up to insights, epiphanies, deep understandings, and creative downloads of frequency and information that come into your physical body and brain, not from memories stored in your nervous system, but from the cosmos, the universe, the unified field, or whatever you want to call the power that is greater than our individual selves. We access the data and memory of the quantum field through this center. Okay. Those are the centers. All right. Let's give you another idea. All right. Why do I bring this all up? Why is it important to me? Because my centers are out of whack, misaligned in some way. And today was the first time doing this meditation. I've been doing another one by Joe Dispenza, and my God, is it powerful to understand where energy is stored in our bodies and to feel it. And to actually, he teaches you a breathing technique, which drives the energy that's stuck in our first three energy centers down by the bottom and drives all the way up through us, the top of our head. So how energy gets stuck, let's see. So first energy center, energy gets stuck there. Sexual depravity, sexual addiction, sexual anxiety, sexual confusion, pain, trauma from molestation. The second one, guilt, shame, pain, unworthiness, lack, and victimization. And that is associated with the low back. And these are all things that I'm working through. The third one, in your stomach, pit of your stomach, competition, control, impatience, ego, and self-aggrandizement. And we have energy that's been stuck there and stored there for years. And to understand this and to start the process of moving that stored energy there through our body to express it freely like a fountain that's finally unstuck and starts flowing, you'll feel it and you'll go through some shit. Okay. Is there anything else I want to share from this? Okay, that's kind of what just wanted an overview of the energy centers. So it's crazy that I've felt like, well, it's in back pain, it's in my hips, this pain that I felt for the last 6 years. And the realizations, I'm in therapy now, and yesterday was a big session. Just understanding some stuff, some family stuff, and realizing that since I was a kid, instead of expressing myself, expressing who I was, I kind of felt judgment. And I would rather kind of shut down and not, I just didn't want to create more conflict. And I started having physical symptoms, which I did not know at the time were mind body stuff. Same thing that I'm dealing with now as chronic back pain. Stomach aches, headaches, growing pains, which is kind of well known now as Mindbody Syndrome. And I repressed a lot of emotion. I repressed who I am. And that's a big part of it. I'm working through like guilt of feeling kind of undeserving of love and just the blessings of my life. Yeah, there's a lot of guilt there that I'm working through of like, what do I make of this? What did I do to deserve this? Guilty for being in pain, you know, just kind of the shame of that, the shame of being in pain in my 20s and not being able to understand it, the anger about it, and all these emotions that I feel towards the pain were there since I was a kid. But the pain is used as a distraction from the emotion itself. So, like, I'm angry about the pain. The physical pain is just a distraction from feeling angry about something in my unconscious, which is pretty wild to think about. And I mean, I'm in Japan for a reason because unconsciously I have this drive and this love of traveling and seeing the world and this call to adventure, but I'm also, in a way, here to escape my family and kind of this pressure. And I have an amazing family. They're so loving, and like with the guilt stuff, it's almost I'm working through how to make sense of these privileges and these gifts that I've been given. But unconsciously, I was kind of driven away because I couldn't express myself. I couldn't just fully be myself for various reasons, sibling reasons, and just feeling kind of, you know, it's hard to spread your wings sometimes when you're still in the environment that you grew up in and you have an identity of who you were as a kid, and that kind of follows you, and it's hard to become somebody new when you're constantly reminded of who that person was. I'm doing deep inner child work and like understanding that that kid has the answers, but something I realized yesterday to help with the therapist is that while I love that kid, I look at pictures of him, and before therapy, I was kind of judgmental of him, of like repressing, and he was kind of grumpy and um, shameful and didn't know what was going on in life. You know, I was 12. But instead of just being like, wow, if I was his parent now, like how much love does he really need to feel worthy of these things? And I think in a way I felt unworthy of love and of attention that I was getting and of anything, unworthy of truly being myself and trying to understand who that was. And I was kind of saying in therapy, like, you know, that's still me, that's evolved in me. But then it's like, it is, that's your essence, you know, who you were as a kid, but you are a new person now. You don't have to be, and you are not the same kid that you were who was in those circumstances. You were completely different and evolved. And you can hug that kid. You could thank them for everything they went through to bring you to where you are, but it's not you anymore. It doesn't have to be. A phoenix is burns in the fire and is reborn. And that's what has to happen to get through pain, to heal. We have to shed the layers of our past to become somebody new. And like I was saying, I'm here for a reason because I felt stifled in a way that I couldn't fully just embrace who I wanted to be without feeling judged. And I didn't even really know who I wanted to be, but deep down it was a calling. I just felt it inside of me. And that's what has kind of led me to writing and to exploring the world and just doing different things. And now that I'm here, I mean, I've questioned what the hell I'm doing here, but now I know why I'm here because I have to be in a certain way to have this experience, to have this spiritual awakening and odyssey. I have to be separate from kind of everything I knew at that time to, like in the hero's journey, eventually come back to that life with wisdom and with newfound knowledge and with a gift. And this pain has been a gift, absolute gift. And it's just insane how that stuff was. And it's going to take time, all of this. Like I said, I'm not out of pain yet, but there's no timeline on it. It could take months, years, could happen today or tomorrow, where I'm just completely pain free. But it's not even the point anymore. Like, as I'm telling you now, what's so exciting is like digging into who I am and uncovering who I could be, and just realizing that we are limitless, because all the only limits that we truly have are the ones that we place on ourselves in our own mind, because everything, our reality, is constructed in our minds, in our brains. It's so much more intelligent. This world is so much more intelligent than we could possibly begin to understand. And today, doing the meditation, just freeing the energy from the bottom 3 energy centers, and just it hit me in the heart, and I just started crying. Because for the first time, it was like, you are you. And I, instead of trying to kind of hold back and be like, is this really, like, what is this, kind of hippie stuff or spiritual stuff, or it was all just projections that I've felt judgment for, like, accepting that this stuff is real. I feel like in the past. And today, just with what I've discovered in the last couple of months, for the first time doing this, like, it hit me in the heart. And it's like, it's okay to be you. You're so loved. Your heart is pure and shining, and you are worthy just as you are. And you don't have to be anything that you're not. You don't have to decipher if you're wearing a mask or putting up a persona. You are you, and you're discovering what that means. And it's all okay. And man, it just felt so good to just, like, take a breath and just accept that, and to sit with it and understand that I'm not who I was anymore. The essence is still within me. I looked back to that kid and I'm just grateful and proud of what he made it through. But I'm a new person, and my faith, my belief is stronger than those constraints that have held me back for the last 6 years. The love that I feel is not fake and is real. And instead of trying to decipher if it's real, today I was like, just feel it. Just feel it in your heart center and let it overcome. Let it overwhelm you. And then just driving the energy up to my head. And I saw it as just like an open sky in my brain of just intuition and healing and freshness and beauty. And I saw it because each heart center, or each chakra, you assign like a color and a symbol. And I just saw it as like open sky, blue. And that led up to the eighth center above my head, just divinity and just golden light, and just pouring out of me, and just like feeling awakened into this new reality that I'm creating every day. I get up and I do this stuff. I'm excited. I'm excited just to discover what I'm capable of, what I love, what I could be. And when you start delving into this stuff and truly just being excited for who you are, what people think, what people do, it won't matter anymore. You'll understand your own boundaries more, that you need to focus on who you're becoming rather than what people expect you to be. The unimportant stuff just starts to fade away. It's like, now that I kind of starting to know who I am, it doesn't matter if I keep up with the people who seem to have it figured out, or if I keep up this facade of people pleasing. And it's like, this is all part of integrating our shadow and becoming a complete human being, is just finally accepting and taking a breath of like, this is me. I'm worthy. I'm worthy of my own self-love. I'm worthy of the divine light and intelligence of the universe. I'm worthy of my dreams, the things that I want out of life. It doesn't fucking matter what anybody else says or wants from me. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put everything I have into it. And when you get that feeling, it's like a fire is lit inside your soul, and your heart is just shining. And Yeah, it broke me down. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Much, much love.